Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, August 24th, 2021 regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. We are having internet problems. If you are watching or trying to watch, I just want to put that out there. Hopefully we'll be online soon, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Governor Pritzker moved Illinois into Phase 5 related to the COVID-19 pandemic for all Illinois counties. In accordance with Board Policy 2.230, members of the public may provide public comment at the meeting. The public will be allocated up to 3 minutes per speaker. The board president is set up to 30 minutes as the length of time for the public comment section of this meeting. Board meetings continue to be live streamed for viewing on the district's website, and electronic public viewing can be found at Board Docs by clicking on the video button. It is 7:08 and we are up and running, and if I could have the official roll call, please.
Mrs. Hassler? Here. Oh.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Here.
Mrs. Sir Collins?
Yep, here.
Mrs. Hostler?
Here.
Mrs. Caforio?
Here.
Mrs. Troutman present.
Okay, we have 5 board members present and 2 absent. At this time, I'd ask that we all stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're going to begin with a couple of spotlight recognitions. The first one is a Shining Star recipient. So if she could come up, please. And I'm gonna, there we go. And we really want you to stand right here in the middle, and I'm really not kidding, so that you can be appreciated and recognized. And Mrs. Troutman is going to do the recognition on behalf of the board.
So I can't tell you personally just how honored I am to be presenting this award to you. It is on. I'll be shorter. Should I be shorter? I met Erin just personally just a few months ago, maybe during the heart of COVID, through volunteer organizations that we're both a part of. And what I quickly learned is that if you float an idea in front of Erin and she says, that's a good idea, the best course of action is just to step out of her way, because she's going to go like wildfire to get it done. So I am so happy to be here to present this award to you. I would like to nominate Erin Loza Navarro for the Shining Star Award. Erin currently serves as the parent liaison at York High School and provides necessary translations for district communications. She's also taken on a voluntary role in the community as a community board member of the Elmhurst Walk-In Assistance Network and is the founder and leader of the Elmhurst Resource Collaboration Group. This group has partnered with multiple community organizations to provide resources to the families of Elmhurst. Erin works tirelessly to ensure that the families in our community have what they need both in and outside of school. Her connections to community organizations and resources help her put together one of Elmhurst's biggest resource fairs. This resource fair hosted more than 45 agencies that provided resources to parents, teens, children, and youth. Several medical providers were at the fair and conducted 32 school and sports physicals, 35 dental exams, 13 COVID vaccinations, and dermatology cancer screenings. Around 200 sets of school supplies were given out. Over 75 families were assisted with school registration, and many received Spanish books, bilingual books, and York Spiritware. Further, there were over 200 boxes of food distributed and many children's snacks given out to families who attended the fair. This fair is a testament to the hard work and dedication that Erin has for our community. And she put it together in like 4 weeks, like literally. I'm afraid what it's gonna look like now that you have a year to put together next year's. Erin is compassionate, focused, and full of drive and motivation. She is constantly thinking of ways to improve and meet the needs of Elmhurst families. She is a huge asset to the district and is an inspiration to many. Anyone who has the privilege of knowing Erin knows that she has a genuine passion for the work she does. So thank you for all you do. I know I had the opportunity to bring Dr. Campbell over to the resource fair, and she literally, you could tell how her reaction went. But when we walked out, she's like, I am overwhelmed. I think that's the words you used. So, all right, well, I'm gonna come over.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all you do. Okay, our next spotlight recognition is the Family Career Culinary Leaders of America, the FCCLA national winner. And you seem to be a regular here in the boardroom, which is wonderful. Yes.
Hello, my name is Wendy Albert. I am the Division Chair for Career and Technical Education at York. I also teach in the Family and Consumer Science Department and in one of the FCCLA advisors. I'd like to thank the school board and Dr. Campbell for the opportunity to honor our 2020-2021 National FCCLA competitors. I'd also like to thank Dr. Bagdasarian and the York administration for supporting career and technical education. Thank you. Career and technical education and family and consumer science education opportunities at York. If I could have our FCCLA national competitors, if you guys would come forward and kind of stand in the center here. And while they do that, I'll give just a brief background about FCCLA. Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America is comprised of over 180,000 students enrolled in family and consumer science classes across the country. Students in FCCLA can compete in many different competitions specific to their career focus or FCS area of interest. Students extend their learning beyond the classroom by competing in competitions that align with the FCS career pathways that we offer at York. And that includes culinary arts and hospitality management, early childhood education, fashion design, and interior design. This year we had 6 students who competed at the national level. All of the students first competed at the sectional level, qualified to move on to state, and then qualified from there for nationals, which did unfortunately take place in a virtual format this past summer, but we were still excited to be able to have our students participate. As everyone knows, this past year has thrown a lot of challenges and firsts at us, and I want to recognize the dedication and resilience of our students who challenged themselves and stayed engaged in our FCCLA organization, despite all the initial challenges of remote learning and all of the uncharted territory that virtual competitions brought. We are excited to honor the accomplishments of Katie, Juliana, and Savannah, who are with us this evening, as well as a few of our students who couldn't be here this evening, Yusra, Emma, and Claire, several of whom have already headed off to college. Throughout the past 3 to 4 years of FCCLA participation, our students have developed personal passions for culinary arts and fashion design, explored FCS career opportunities, and developed critical professional skills such as communication, teamwork, and leadership. And they've also showcased their talents in the FCS area through their competitive events. Ladies, we are so proud of you. On behalf of the York FCCLA advisors and Family and Consumer Science Department, we wish you congratulations to our students, as well as their parents who have supported them over the past year. Congratulations.
I'm just going to read the
congratulations. I'm
We're not done. We're not done.
not
yet.
done, yes. I'm going to read the proclamation before you step away. I'm always so grateful for the opportunities that are available to our students here in District 205, and there are so many great classes that fall under the Family and Consumer Science heading, and they're so much fun for our students, but they help with career explorations, they spark creativity and collaboration, and in them, students learn life skills that will serve them well no matter what path they take. And whenever I'm at York for a curriculum night or a freshman orientation, I hear about these classes, and I really wish that they had adult classes at night because I'd like to take them myself. So congratulations in everything that you accomplished, and I know it was a challenging year to do it in, so super proud of you. I'm just going to read the proclamation, and then I will give you each a copy. Okay. Whereas the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA, is a nonprofit national career and technical student organization for young men and women in family and consumer sciences education, and FCCLA has more than 180,000 members and more than 4,200 chapters across the United States. And whereas York Community High School joined more than 4,500 FCCLA student leaders, members, and advisors from across the country to participate in FCCLA's first ever hybrid national leadership conference, June 27th to July 2nd, 2021. And whereas FCCLA students, Caitlin Guerra, Yusra Hazrahi, Emma Johnson, Juliana Moran, Savannah Nichols, and Claire Warbeck competed in FCCLA's virtual competitive events related to family and consumer science education. And whereas Caitlin Guerra and Juliana Moran received silver medals in repurpose and redesign, and Emma Johnson received a silver medal in fashion design, and Savannah Nichols received a silver medal in culinary arts, Yusra Hazrahi received a gold medal in fashion construction, and Claire Warbeck received a gold medal and ranked second in the nation in culinary arts. And Claire Warbeck was also awarded a $3,000 scholarship to the Culinary Institute of America. And whereas these accomplishments bring pride and prestige to York Community High School, to District 205, and to the community. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education and Administration of Elmhurst Community Unit District 205 express congratulations to these students, their parents, and the faculty of the Family and Consumer Sciences Department, Wendy Albert, Jenna Callan, Lori Christ, Lindsay Goldsmith, Sarah Merrick, Catherine Naraki, and Abigail Teston for these outstanding achievements. Congratulations.
Congratulations, really.
Congratulations, Savannah. Started school.
Congratulations, that's awesome. So impressive.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Nice job.
Thanks, Wendy, for all you do. You do an amazing job over there.
I know we have a few parent photographers. So you get a better shot, I understand.
Is everyone smiling?
We're smiling. We're smiling. See it in their eyes. They're happy. All right. On the count of three, I'm going to do 3 shots every time. 1, 2, and 3. So first one, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is public comments. There will be 30 minutes allocated for public comments with up to 3 minutes per speaker concerning items on this agenda, as well as communication, petitions, reports from citizens or representatives of other public agencies. The board welcomes public comments as part of the board's regular business meeting that is held in public. It is our practice, however, at this time to listen, but not provide a response or engage in discussion at this time. We value your respectfulness and courteousness as you present the content of your public comment. So in order to have the process kind of streamlined, we will read the name. You will state your name when you're at the podium. There's a timekeeper. You'll be let know when there's 30 seconds left. And we will also call the second speaker up so they can be ready, and that way we get through more speakers. You have 3 minutes, and we ask that in order to respect your other community members, you wrap up when time is called. So at this time, Mrs. Troutman will read the first two speakers.
The first speaker is Iona Fernandez. Behind that will be John Bischoff.
Make sure the microphone is green, please. Is it green?
It's green now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Joana Fernandez, and I'm here on behalf of my husband, Phil, and our boys, Leopoldo and Rafaelo. They are both super excited to be back to school. Our principals and teachers did an amazing job at welcoming this week, or last week, whenever it was. Our goal as a family is to have our kids attend school in person the entire year. We believe this is where we can all find common ground. Based on our in-person experience last spring and all the knowledge we accumulated since COVID started, we know that schools can stay open safely if layer mitigations for COVID are in place. We were concerned when we learned that masks would be optional at the start of the school year. That did not seem to have the best interest of our kids, teachers, or community safety at heart. However, we were relieved when the governor instituted a mask mandate at state level. And here is where we believe we have more common ground. None of us wants to see our kids, teachers, or community members sick. Science has proven that wearing a mask, amongst other mitigations like social distancing, are effective at keeping people safe from contracting COVID. Our kids and staff proved this last spring. Not wearing masks puts our kids and teachers at risk. Wearing is caring. We love our principals and teachers, and we prefer to support their efforts of educating our children. There are a few things we are here to ask the board and Dr. Campbell that would help keep our schools open and our kids healthy. Please consider the following until COVID is not a high risk factor and vaccines are available for students under 12. Improving the air quality in all the 205 buildings with portable HEPA air filters. Improve lunch procedures. Kids are very crowded right now. Mask informants, especially on crowded buses. Re-implementing the D205 COVID dashboard, we would like to know what's happening in the community. Contact tracing for non-close contacts, the same way it's being done for strep or lice or anything like that. And surveilling testings for families that can opt in for that. We keep hearing that COVID does not affect kids. Besides all the kids that actually got COVID, which is 18% of current cases, or died of COVID, it is estimated that for every 13 deaths caused by the virus, one child under 18 has lost a parent. That makes over 46,000 kids that are growing without a parent.
30 seconds.
COVID affects kids in multiple ways, and we have the power to stop it by doing what the science proves it works. Please know that we can help you implement all the above. There is an entire community of parents that stand behind you and are ready to help keep our kids, teachers, and community safe. Thank you once again for volunteering to lead this board and for helping run our district.
Okay, Thank
Mis-
you.
oh, sorry. After Mr. Bischoff is Paul Nicoli, or Nichols, sorry.
Hi, my name is John Bischoff. I am a father of 3 kids that will be in the 205 district. Right now I have 2 at Edison. I'm the current PTA president at Edison, and I love this community. I love Elmhurst, and I love the fact that our kids are back in school, not remote, and that we are making this work. I would like to reiterate some of the things that have been said, that I was disappointed with a mask optional at first. I was very thankful for Governor Pritzker to institute a mask mandate. And with Delta and the way that it is spreading, they're saying that it's just, well, almost as contagious as chickenpox. And a mask is an effective layer of protection under our multi-layered standard that we've been talking about the entire school year for moving forward together. We want to have multiple things in place to mitigate any risk from COVID and to keep our schools open and our kids in it. My children are happy. They're going to school. They're loving it. They forget that masks are on their face. They come riding their bike home in this crazy, awful humidity. They still have the mask on. They haven't even thought of it. It's not a thought for them. The kids don't care. The kids will wear them if they're told to. And it is an effective additional measure in preventing the spread of COVID. And I would like for our board to consider, regardless of what our state says or what our numbers are, to keep a mask mandate in place until such time as that our younger kids can get this vaccine. It has been recently FDA approved for everyone 16 and over. It's still emergency use for ages 12 through 15. I'm waiting for my 10-year-old and my 8-year-old, and I'm fingers crossed, hoping that that comes before Christmas. I don't want masks to be a forever thing, but I do want masks to be around long enough for us to weather this 3rd wave, 4th wave. I don't even know what wave this is, but the Delta variant, which is far more aggressive and is affecting our children. Obviously, for mask or against mask, nobody wants their neighbors, their friends, or anyone to die, to be sick in a hospital for a long time. None of us want that. That is our biggest goal, is to keep our community together, keep our community safe, and keep our schools open with our kids in it.
30 seconds.
Last few things I'd like to see. I agree that I'd like to see our district dashboard back up there. That's very helpful to parents to know exactly where we are, whether and not having to search through both the DuPage County Health and the Northwestern dashboard. I would like to know more plans about contact tracing and quarantining should it occur. I've had friends in other districts where kids are already remote after a half a week of school.
3 minutes.
Thank you very much for all that you do, and please keep our kids in mind for all of our future decisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
After Mr. Nicoli, Emily Hyenk.
Hello, my name is Paul, and I'm a student at York, and I'd like to mention how last year, some of my peers and I reviewed our AP Lang class holistically, including the curriculum, and we found 40 separate articles, 15 videos, 2 hour-long documentaries, 2 books for a total of 796 pages, and 4 hours of screen time of political content, all slanted and skewed in one direction. Keep in mind, I haven't even mentioned what direction this bias is in, but I'm pretty sure that we have a good idea just where that bias may lie. It's not even a slight bias, but a hard skew. This points the picture very clearly for using the AP Lang class as a means to an end of a political agenda. Not only does this take away from what AP Lang and composition is, a language and composition class, but it takes away any credential that that class has. This political material, which was part of the race unit, took up months September to March. That's more than a majority of the school year. So instead of learning how to write an essay or rhetorical analysis, read books, really the majority of the school year was squandered in that class over a political maneuver. This cannot continue to happen, as it's an insult to students' right to a quality education under the Illinois Constitution, and the school board needs to take necessary means to stop whoever and whatever is writing the curriculum to include such political material. In addition, off the top of my head, I'd also like to note, just from memory, the reluctance towards opposing views and opposing ideas. For example, if someone wanted to bring in a source, source that was worthy, had merit, and did not subscribe to the ideas that were being propagated in class, that source was not really approved of, and was questioned more than if someone was to bring a source of similar merit from a similar viewpoint to be what was being taught in class. So all in all, the goal here is, what can we do to depoliticize the AP Lang class and to remove any sort of political bias that is present there? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
After Ms. Hink, it's Rihanna Roberts.
Hello, my name is Emily Hink. I'm a senior at York, and I'm frustrated with the English curriculum in York's English classes. AP Language and Composition was meant to read 4 novels last year: The Great Gatsby, Angela's Ashes, and Macbeth, as well as a contemporary novel called Between the World and Me. My class read The Great Gatsby, followed by 5 months and at least 15 supporting texts, which revolved around equity, a pretty multifaceted topic. However, not every student supported the repetitive opinions voiced by the literature we read. At times, we felt intimidated by voicing our opinions and concerned we'd be risking a grade if our contributions were considered illogical or off-topic, simply because they were not in line with the popular viewpoint. Moreover, prompts were often crafted in a way that allowed only certain arguments to seem strong or logical. A majority of the provided sources did not offer enough evidence to support sound arguments against popular opinion. York's mission statement is to help students become lifelong learners. It's on the website. People who think critically and form their own educated opinions. By limiting curriculum to one-track agendas, which only provide singular perspectives, York is just creating a learning environment that is not conducive to open discourse. It feels restrictive and limiting to students. This atmosphere made it difficult for students like me, who may not have agreed with prompt's assumptions, and to form a well-written response without sacrificing a high grade. A few of my peers and I admitted and agreed at times we surrendered our genuine opinions to ensure an A, which is a decision no student should ever have to make. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
After Ms. Roberts, Ms. Tim Grebs.
Hi, my name is Rihanna Roberts, and I am a senior at York. I wanted to talk about a couple times that I have seen that documents we are given in English or social studies class have given one perspective when there is obviously a spectrum to be given. And I have seen clearly in classroom discussions, I've seen a lot of examples of this. For example, I would say a large majority of the time, people say I agree to topics due to the passages they are given more than I disagree. And the reality is the chance that a majority of students agree with each other is probably not possible. And so I believe that students need to be given a spectrum of documents throughout their courses, as right now we are given one-sided, one perspective. I assumed some of my classes would be giving us a spectrum to debate our opinions in a controlled classroom environment, and it was never that way. And at York, we are to prepare each other to make students college, career, and life ready. And students agreeing with each other on every topic due to the passages they are given is not realistic, and we need to give students a spectrum of things that they can learn, what they agree with, what they disagree with, and be able to go into the real world and make their own opinions and thoughts known. Thank you.
Thank you.
After Mr. Grebs, Cynthia Pekron.
Dr. Campbell and board members, good evening. My name is Tim Grebs, and I'm a dad to 2 students at Brighton Middle School and 1 student at EddyLink. The personal freedoms of everyone in this community is more important than my personal safety. Let me say that one more time. The personal freedoms of everyone in this community is more important than my personal safety. I say this not to be pompous or self-righteous. This is truly how I feel every day of my life. My family and I would know. I served 2 combat tours in Afghanistan and flew missions in South Korea patrolling the demilitarized zone. That time afforded me uncommon perspective, gained through firsthand experience interacting with people who don't realize the benefits of freedom, but instead live under the hardened veil of tyranny and oppression. Here in our home, the United States, freedom is not just a word, it is a tangible part of our identity. We enjoy it every day, but recently it's been treated like a gift that can be given, but also taken away. Earlier this summer, this board voted to afford each individual student the freedom to choose whether to mask or unmask at school. Yet that decision was short-lived. Our governor issued Executive Order 2021-18, mandating universal masking requirements by the stroke of a pen. He magically reversed course. Then the threats started coming from the ISBE and other government organizations. Scientific reports published by America's preeminent physicians, scientists, and infectious disease experts were sanitized in order to align scientific results with political messaging. All the while, disagreements with regards to COVID-19 vaccinations and mask mandates have turned into toxic vitriol that divide us as a people. Our choices and the choices of our children are being ripped from our grasp. What is especially concerning is that now our children who are the ones carrying the heaviest COVID load right now, and the majority of our children don't even have a choice to vaccinate. Never did I imagine in America that our freedoms would be so constrained. I didn't imagine in America that we would look to the most precious segment of our population, our kids, and ask them to take on such an immense burden. In closing, I want you to relay 2 final thoughts. First, let us be cognizant of the scientific data, but also begin to accept living with COVID-19 like all the other daily risks we already contend with. I'm asking the board under the leadership of Dr. Campbell to establish specific, measurable, and achievable objectives for our children with respect to COVID protocols for the 2021-22 academic year.
30 seconds.
Do this proactively, document and communicate the objectives, and be ready to sprint towards achieving them when our government officials and organizations come to their senses. Secondly, prioritize and decide upon which measures you can control. This includes consideration for enabling our children to eat lunch in a venue that enables social interaction. Yes, that means masks down, allowing the children to talk. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most of our kids are going home and doing that anyway with their friends.
3 minutes.
Please look at the achievable actions to restore as much pre-COVID normalcy to our children's social interaction at school. I'm sure there are small wins we can achieve to deliver immense value to our kids' mental health. Thanks for your selfless service to our community.
Thank you. And I have to just say thank you for your service.
After Ms. Pekron, Mary Young.
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for following the governor's mandate. I know that there's like a vocal minority, not that it should be about majority opinion and should certainly be about following the science, but I appreciate you agreeing to keep our children safe. Just for a sense of scale, because I know we've talked about a lot of the risks that we usually take. I'm not sure, I will not quiz people, but I'm tempted. The number of deaths in America for cars right now, daily, is 90. The number for COVID this week in America was 1,000. So I'm a D205 math student, graduate. That's an order of magnitude. So it's real and it's real severe. So I really appreciate that we're taking it seriously. And I guess to that effect, I think because it was such on done on such short notice that there are some measures that maybe we have not put in place or that we could look into. I've seen maybe some enforcement policies of masks that are kind of challenges at school. Most especially, I think it was specifically on supply move-in day, which I kind of hoped was a fluke, but I've seen some other instances across the district, and my children have commented that their classrooms, their children maybe not wearing their masks correctly. So I'd love if maybe there was some support that we could offer our principals or teachers to help encourage students to wear them correctly. One other thing that has come up, but I think certainly the gentleman in front of me and I agree on. I think everybody would love to see maybe more specific information about what might happen should the mandate lift, most especially before vaccinations are available for children under 12. It'd be great to see what the cutoffs, what the specific cutoffs would be. So I know we talked, the plan I think mentioned a substantial level. It was unclear if it was using IDPH data or CDC data or Northwestern's data. So I think having specific thresholds about what would be all remote or what would be quarantined or in-person hybrid should the mandate lift. And I guess likewise, I'd really love to see us stick to those. So we had a dashboard last year and it was very clear. And while it was all red on the district website, we had all people still in school. So I'd love to see us follow through on the thresholds or whatever objectives it is that we set. Among kind of the spirit of transparency, I would love to be notified of the way that I am for strep or lice or whatever about contacts in my children's classes who have COVID, obviously anonymously, but
30 seconds.
it's important. And then I guess whatever we can do to be supportive to helping with some of these layered mitigations until we can weather this. I know Juana said it, but I think that a lot of us are very interested in being supportive of our schools and figuring out ways to make those happen. So thanks for your time.
Okay, thank you. After Ms. Young, Guido Nardini.
Hi, Mary Young. Not my first time talking to you guys, so hello again. Couple things I just wanted to cover and advocate for, and I'm just going to go down my list. I was hoping that, as many people have mentioned, that we would continue, or we would get COVID notifications similar to how we get strep and lice notifications in our kids. It's ridiculous to me that my kid could be in a class with lice and I'll get a notice, but I won't get a notice if someone in her room tests positive for COVID. Lunch mitigations, I would love to see something. My son says it's ridiculous at York that they sit apart in their classrooms, they do all the right things, then they get to lunch and it's a free-for-all, and then their masks are off. He says it's ridiculous, they're totally packed together. Picnic tables outside on nice days, give them options. Options, similar to what you did in the spring. We, again, and I said this two meetings ago, last spring, we sent our kids back to you. We were so excited to send them back because we trusted you. We saw the layered mitigations. We knew that you were doing all the right things. You had testing, you had space, you had masks, and our kids were able to get back in school. To rip half of those away, including the masks, just really makes our trust threshold very low for this organization. Again, love to see the COVID dashboard come back. Would love to see a rubric on what number does our school or our community need to hit before you do anything. You're saying virtual is not an option. If we hit 15, 20% positivity, what are we doing? We're still in person, just like 2019, no big deal. I would love to know so that we can make some plans as parents. Clear definition of what you say you will pivot. What are those parameters? When will you pivot? Why will you pivot? I would love to see a vax requirement, not only for staff, but for vendors that do business with the district. Now that the vaccine has been approved for general use. I asked for transparency on how the state COVID funds and the federal COVID funds were spent, how they're planned to be spent. Who makes those decisions?
30 seconds.
I'd love to see, and like I said, I'd love to see data. I also would like to request that you go back to allowing submissions of comments online, public comments at this meeting online, and continue the live broadcast. Last but not least, please offer a better wage for aides in our classrooms. You're offering $13.50 in this economy. $13.50, and these kids need people. You're asking people to go into a classroom with kids that are not vaccinated at $13.50 an hour. My
3
son
minutes.
made more at the public pool this summer. So please consider a better wage for the aides in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
After Mr. Nardini, Hillary, Rife.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for doing all your work. The purpose of my public comment is to give everybody on the board a pep talk. When you guys were at the League of Women Voters Forum, Mrs. Arvanitis, regarding COVID, said that it's an important moment in our time right now, and it's time to put the students first. President Caforio said that regarding COVID, new considerations on how our actions, the board's actions, are going to impact students and families and communities and employees. You guys ran for office to improve student achievement, to close the achievement gap, to manage a multi-million-dollar facilities project. Nobody ran for office to say, hey, I hope I can manage a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic and see how it affects my schools and my community. I think that goes without saying. But it's here, and it's how it's going to judge you guys, and it's how it's going to judge all of us. We're in person this year, thank goodness. And as Mr. Collins said, to be a good steward of the taxpayers' resources, it seems your educational mandate is going to fall underneath the aegis of public health. We're not your peers in the backyard. We can be peers about our barbecue and about our potato salad, but in your volunteer work, volunteer, you don't get paid for this. In your volunteer work that you give your time for, your peers are elected officials, other government units, taxing bodies, the authorities. You guys are our authorities. In the quiet moments when you guys make decisions, I'm sure you consider first what's right and what's wrong, and then you consider who am I going to piss off by making this decision. My pep talk here is to remind you that history isn't going to care so much about who you piss off. It's going to remember what was done right and what was done wrong. It's not the community's job to know the difference between the CDC and YouTube. It's not their job to understand that my body, my choice doesn't make any sense when you're talking about an airborne contagion. It's the community's job to love their children, to provide for them, to be wage earners, to take care of their families. It's your job to be our authorities. It's your job to provide a safe environment for our children to learn, to make sure that the virus doesn't go from kid to grandma's book club. You guys know what's right. You guys have degrees. The pandemic is real. It's not the flu. Masks work. If we're worried about freedoms, our freedom to smoke in a library, our freedom to whooping cough on one another, our freedom to drive through red lights, those have come and gone. The government's jackboot is on our throat with those freedoms.
30 seconds.
I encourage you guys to trust your guts. Keep an eye on the gruesome spot that history's put you in. Keep our kids safe. On behalf of your community, I thank you for your service. Please reenact the dashboard. Please make masks mandatory, even if it goes away by the state. Thank you, guys. You're doing work for all of us.
Thank you. This last speaker. Last speaker.
Hillary Reef?
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, I'm Hillary Reef, and I have two children in D205, a freshman at York and a 7th grader at Sandburg. I cannot begin to express the pride and relief I felt when this board and administration moved forward with a mask optional decision. When Governor Pritzker pushed down his mask mandate, I held out hope that this board would continue to stand ground and protect our children. When I heard D205 move to mask mandate, my reaction was visceral. This is now a battle between we the people and an elected Illinois governing body that is now acting and ruling as a dictatorship. Based on the executive order, IBSE has no legal standing to have revoked school recognition of the 41 schools it is aggressively gone after. Let's all pause and look at what is truly happening, because if we do not unite and protect our constitutional rights, maintain our legal system and our governmental checks and balances, we will all eventually feel this. I implore this board as the first line of defense for our children and as our elected officials to take a stand. Connect with officials that are standing to fight to preserve our freedoms. I can give names if needed. Once we start moving the line of freedom, it's a very slippery slope. And since masks is a hot button here, I'll give the flag as an example, right? People are allowed to walk on our flag, put it on the ground. It is freedom of speech. Many of us are extremely offended, but that is our freedom to do so, and we have to respect that. People want my children masked to keep them safe. I would tell you this. I would like you to be held to some of your comorbidity rates. So if we want to mask my kids today, can we get kind of passports that say, if you're obese, if you have diabetes, and if you have high blood pressure, then when you go to check out at a grocery store, you should not be allowed to buy ABC. That's where we start moving this line. So when you tell me to physically do something to my child, we need to take a stand and look back at where we want that line to continue to move. Because you laugh, I never thought I'd be up here talking about physically, mentally harming my kids, and I have. I have a kid with bacterial pneumonia last spring from these masks. And
30
I implore
seconds.
all of you to put your mask on every day, because I think we send our kids out that door and assume it's okay. Wear your mask. I'm wearing it. I'm working from home, and I'm wearing this thing from 8:30 till 3:30, and it is brutal. I have headaches. I have panic attacks that I can't catch my breath. It is awful. So before you keep saying it's no big deal, I implore you to stand in their shoes. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that was it, right? Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is the approval of board meeting minutes. We have July 13th, 2021 and July 28th, 2021. Were there any changes to those? Okay, then those meeting minutes stand as presented. All right, next item is reports and presentations. The first one will be a facilities update.
Good evening. Tonight we're going to give you a little report of the status of our current construction projects, both for the referendum and our summer capital. This slide that we have here is what we presented back in June. What we're looking to do is just kind of give you a snapshot of where we're at now with some of the completed work, the work in process, work that we're designing for next year and the following year, and then work that's still yet to be completed. So this kind of gives you a snapshot of everything of the $168.5 million. With this one, some things that have changed since the last update back in June is some of the completed work. We separated that category. There's construction projects that were completed, students are at the building, using the facilities and everything, but there's some items that are just like punch list items or final billing items and invoice items that we're still getting some of those, you know, from White, from ICI, and some of our consultants. So that did go up a little bit, about $100,000 there on the estimated actual based off of the pre-ref estimates. The work in process bids awarded, that one did go down. We were at 1.5 million. Now we're at about $1.2 million under budget. A big chunk of that is for the transition center from the environmental concerns that we had, or environmental issues that we found out there with contaminated soil by the railroad tracks and underground storage tank, oil tank that they must have used for heating the boilers back then when they had that. And then with the work and design, those are still the estimates of actual of some of the projects that we're working on with Jackson, Jefferson, and Fisher for the renovations and additions out there for next summer, along with the new field. Those with those estimated actuals are based off that presentation we did back in June when we showed you that we were looking from Field Elementary School from a 3-section building going to a 4-section building, and some additional additions on the other buildings that weren't really in the referendum program. And that's the same numbers we had before. Currently in the process of updating those designs. We met with all the principals, the 4 principals of those buildings today, showed them the designs. We'll be showing those new designs to the board members next week. We're working with ICI to update that costing data so that we can bring that to the board in September. This just shows the list where we did separate it out there from completed work. Those projects were done. A lot of those were in 2019. and then completed work pending final invoices. So you can see through each individual one what the initial referendum budget is, and then what the actual costs were and where we are with over and under budget. So this is kind of the template that we'll keep bringing forward and updating it to be transparent and keep everything in front of the board of the progress we're doing on these construction projects. And then, and the completed ones, the bigger ones that were up there were the secure entrances that we did at Jackson, Jefferson, and Fisher. With Fisher, there was a addition onto that one that was not in the original referendum scope. Work in process right now. These are the ones that we started up this year. The stadium track replacement is just about done. We just got a couple of acrylic paints, but they're out there using it. That was a good project. We did a lot of work on there. Estimated actual, there was a lot of subsurface work that we had to do out there and some drainage issues we had to do prior to us putting that new track surface on there, because if we did not have a solid foundation, it would start to crack again. And there were some drainage issues where there was pipes that were supposed to be in the ground, weren't in the ground, and we were getting some flooding onto the turf field where it was actually growing grass on the field turf. So we took care of those issues. The natatorium upgrades in the pool, there's 2 projects that are going on out there, referendum projects and summer capital projects. With this one is to upgrade the air handler units that are for the pool area. Part of that is the increase in that cost up there is these new units are about 30% larger than what was currently out there, providing more airflow out there. So it wasn't a one-for-one replacement. So as you sit there and increase the unit, you have to increase some of the other components out there with the duct work and some of the valves and the pipes and all the other associated work out there. That one is up and operational right now. We just got some tweaking on there, but it's running really well right now. Edison renovations, this is the project we started last year. We're just about wrapping that up right now. We do show that we'll be under budget on that one with the estimated in there. That is a little bit lower than it was in June. We upgraded, instead of mulch on the playground, with the standards that we're doing everywhere in the district, we put this rubberized solid surface in there, which is going to be a lot better for the students out there. Emerson renovations are just about done. It looks wonderful out there. We're looking at, we're going to be under budget on that one too. New Lincoln School is, as you see in some of the slides, it's come along nicely out there right now. A lot of work is happening to that building, and we're still projecting out there that will potentially be under budget. With the New Lincoln School, we also found an underground storage tank out there in the middle of the building, so we did have to take care of that, kind of like we did with that, the transition center, and with Lincoln, we're all clear. We got the final letters to proceed. Those tanks are out. We took out all the old soil. We're back on track now. York boiler replacement, that's a small one that we're doing in-house throughout the years, a couple boilers at a time. Transition center, it's coming along. We did increase the cost out there. As you see is a little note down there, extra $200,000 for that tank and some other things that we have found out there as we're going through this construction process. But with that tank gone, we're starting to do the site work and pouring the concrete sidewalks right now. These are the buildings that we have that we're in design right now. As you can see, the yellow out there for those are just the estimates from the last time in June. We're looking to have new estimates come forward to the board in a couple weeks. York Auditorium, we don't have any designs or scope work on that one yet. We're looking to have some stuff for that end of September so we can start sharing that out, what that scope of work may be. And the York baseball field improvements is actually a project that's towards the end of it. We're just doing some preliminary designs right now as we look at it, some of the core samplings and see how the layout and everything is. So not much on that one. This is the work that still needs to be completed. This list hasn't changed since June. These are some of the projects that will be pretty much out there towards the last 2 years of the referendum or the facilities master plan. Sorry. Any questions on the referendum projects before I go into the summer capital projects?
You have Athena.
Sure. Todd, thanks for that presentation, really thorough. I just want to repeat for the community one thing that you said, and I just want to make sure I heard it correctly, that at the next board meeting, we can expect some updated numbers from the referendum projects. And that those numbers that were just shown were from our last presentation in June, right? So there's still a little work to be done there.
Correct.
Great. And then I just have one question that's kind of a future forward question about our next presentation and the finances for these projects that are obviously a little bit over budget for a lot of good reasons, but just wanting to make sure that in that last school for this round field, you know, that we're coming from a lens of cost containment to some extent as we're looking at that school, the design, and what we've learned from both the Edison build and the Lincoln build. And just want to make sure that that's kind of on our radar as we're moving forward to getting those new numbers next month.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah, and a lot of the things in the field building are, you know, a lot of the things that we're putting into the building are going to be very similar to what we've been doing at Edison, even Emerson, and actually Lincoln too. So.
Yeah, and I think that's great. And I think there's also an opportunity here to get some feedback from the principals after they lived in Edison, for example, to see what's working, what did we maybe miss, what can we kind of tweak for the future so that we don't make the same, if there were some things that could have been better, that we make that happen in the next building or the next reno rather than saying, oh, that we're just copying what we've been doing. Am I making sense?
Yep.
That'd
Oh,
be great.
definitely. And we're already going to get that. I mean, with Mr. Pliskota, he'll definitely tell us what's not working out there as Edison
Yeah, he
as we
will.
start moving in with the new things of some of the things that we've been doing. And based on some of the conversations we had with the principals today from Jefferson, Jackson, Fisher, and Field, they have already been out to those buildings. So they've walked around and I've already talked to the principal and getting a feel of, okay, what about this and what about this? It was a great dialogue we had with them this morning, and they're actually bringing some of that feedback to us. So then our design team can sit there and try to incorporate that moving
It's
forward.
perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. And also, don't forget that cost containment, like that, you know, we just want to kind of take that eye and when we can, chip away, if possible, without compromising the student experience, right? The student
Yes.
environment and learning experience. So, thanks.
Absolutely.
So when you pointed out that, thank you for pointing out on the completed work at Fisher and those, like the Emerson, Jackson, that are all kind of over, it's because we added in, right? Fisher, we added in a new section, an addition, and there were, at Emerson, it was the site. So it's a good reminder to the community that these were intentional spends based on cost, and not based on space and needs at those buildings. Is it fair to say, moving forward in like the Fisher, Jefferson, and Jackson ones, that same kind of concept is happening, right? We're seeing these need for space before the renovations are happening, before the construction begins, and that's why your estimated actual is higher.
Correct.
Okay. And then,
Can I just half interrupt you,
Yeah.
sort of? Is there a way for you to notate in the next time you put this chart out, that it's an increase in scope? Because I think, you know, some people look at something, you know, they're not maybe tracking every meeting, every conversation we have. And so to see that, you know, Fisher's budget looks so much more expansive, but to understand that we've increased the scope and what we're doing to address needs and than what was originally budgeted for would help.
Like
just
a
for the-
reminder.
yeah,
Yeah.
reminder.
Yep.
Sorry,
Yep.
not
Yes,
to.
we can definitely do that.
Okay,
Great
thanks.
idea.
Sorry,
because
Courtney.
I just don't want people to think we're not being, you know, responsible financially. We're making, these are, you know, decisions we're making based on our needs. And then just one quick one. So I know the boiler issue or whatever, the oil tank, what was dug up? Like, I know that was the big time, you know, really put transition center behind timeline. And finding that same thing at the Lincoln site, is that changing the timeline for Lincoln at all?
No, not
Okay.
with Lincoln. We had that in there. We were still able to do a lot of other work out there. Why we just left that, it was just in the center of the building, so we continued to work around it. So it wasn't like the transition center, we couldn't do anything on that east side, we just had to wait. Plus, we had some contaminated soil just to the east of the property by the tracks, so that held us up too. There was just a big pile of dirt there that we couldn't take anywhere until we got the testing, sampling, and the letters to proceed and go dump it out.
It's very nice to drive by the transition center and actually being able to see progress now. So I'm feeling less anxious. I know it's still not where we wanted to be, but you know, the back area with the little patio and I love covering up that old horrible brick. You know how much I hate that brick. So, but I'm very excited for it. I know I'm a visual person. I'm sorry. Remember, I wanted somebody to donate paint, right? I was like, can't we get somebody to donate some paint? I want to paint.
Courtney, that requires
Todd, what do
long-term
you-
maintenance costs for if you paint brick. I'm just letting you
Yeah,
know.
no, it looks great. I'm very excited to see the progress. So thank you.
Okay. Now, oh, sorry. I didn't. This is just kind of give you a little bit. This is also the format we're going to do is kind of give you the project status of everything, any unforeseen impacts, projected completion, and then any pending issues that we have out there. This is the new Lincoln School. Actually, if you go out there today, in the bottom right on the right-hand side is actually the big, large slabs of the precast, which are actually the gymnasium, which is actually the storm shelter. That is all complete right now, along with the elevator shaft and the 3 stairwells. And so they're working on foundation work. We're actually looking to put structural steel out there the end of this month and then start putting a roof on. So they're going along nicely. ICI is doing an excellent job of keeping those contractors on time and on schedule. And the only issue we had was that tank, but that's all ready to go, and we're just moving on. Transition center, as you can see in the top right, that has the resistor panel. Now, not the whole building is getting the resistor panel, so, and we are going to be staining multiple color stains on some of the other brick there to make it all uniform, but that panel is really, it's really sharp. With that, and you can see some of the interior work in there. On the left of those pictures, that's the outdoor permeable paver area out there for the outdoor learning environment. Inside has actually made a lot of progress since I took this picture on the bottom right. They have pretty much, we're getting our ceiling inspections with the fire department on Friday. Most all the ceiling grids in, the lights are in there, the sprinkler system is in. They're going to start dropping all the ceiling tiles in there. The whole inside has a first coat of paint already. We've already got the tile and the flooring, ceramic flooring tile done in the bathrooms. Some of the fixtures already installed there, so we're plugging away at it. We don't see any more issues because we did get the all clear from the IEPA, and we got the permits, no further remediation, so we're moving that soil out there, and we expect to start paving in about 2 to 3 weeks out there. Edison, if you haven't been there, beautiful building. It just turned out really well. It incorporates the new with the old of doing the corridors, all the corridors at once, which we're going to do at all the elementary schools, as the paint them, new ceiling tiles, new lights, new flooring. So it just flows right in there. Project is done. There's some, when I took that picture, there's some furniture in the hallways, but we have no issues with that. We're closing that project out right now. We actually have some new drone footage that we have aerials of the completed project that we can sit there and pass on. It looks great, even from the air. So Emerson is another wonderful building that we have in there. We did all the corridor renovations out there along with the Library Media Center. It's a great little building, and we did a couple classrooms out there, redid their maker space, and also on this, and let you know on the 2 projects too, which I think is important, is on Emerson and Edison, we ran all new data cabling. We ripped out all the data cabling in there, put all new in there. Actually, we put less data cabling that was currently in there, added more, some for future expansions of wireless access points, redid the network closets for the IT. In Emerson, it wasn't a classroom. We moved it to its own room. So we're sitting there, that's a big part of it, is to upgrade the technology infrastructure so then Rudy can do whatever he needs to do. This one is actually pretty cool. The stadium is just, look how much it's come in just about little over a year. It's just a great facility out there. We just got a little bit of painting to do. We've replaced some fencing out there with the new field turf, and along with the new track surface. It's a great facility out there. Actually, the individual laying that track surface says this is pretty much college level right now. And they know they do a lot of track surfaces out here. These aren't as glamorous pictures, but I like them. I think this is the stuff I like. This is just the MEPs out there, the air handling units for the locker rooms, and part of this is the locker rooms, return air for the pool locker rooms, the air handling units for the pool, and the boilers, where there's new condensing units put out there, a dehumidification put out there system, along with additional ductwork to really move that air in there. One quick thing on a side maintenance note, while we were doing all this work out there in the pool, we drained the pool, we knew we had a leak. We ran a camera down the pipes and found we had to dig about 10 foot down by the diving board side into the tile, and we did find a leak in pipe. So with that, just since we filled the pool, we were running almost 20,000 gallons a day last year. Right now we're at about 2,000. So we should save our utility bills on the water. With this is also, we have our summer capital program. This is the money, this year we put $4 million aside from operating funds into these projects. As you can see, the boiler, York, and locker rooms, what we're doing on some of these is we're combining them with there so we can get economies of scale. If we have work that we have on our summer capital and our life cycle plan, and it coincides with the referendum, we're blending them together because we already have the contractors out there doing everything. So it works to our advantage. Same thing, this one is going to be a little bit over budget because those air handler units are bigger. And we added some dehumidification on those too. The roof at York, this is just only a section of the roof, about 100,000 square foot over the gym areas and just kind of around the field house. That's right on schedule. We look like we'll be under budget on that one. With this field turf over the water detention, we're still waiting on that one. We're estimating we'll be hitting right where we need to be. This is the field turf and all the work we have to do to put up the nets, the foundation for the nets, some curbing, some sidewalks, working on a monument sign to go up there and hide some of the controls for the detention center. So we'll know more on that as the city progresses. The other ones are just some of the things that we've been doing out there, looking at replacing gym floors, looking at things that aren't included in the referendum that should be on the life cycle. Gym floors only last so long, carpet only lasts so long. Those are things. Cafeteria tables, those ones that are in the wall that we've had problems, replacing those so they don't fall down on kids or anything like that. So that's on like a life cycle plan. Lighting upgrade, LED lighting upgrade in the gymnasium or the field house at York. And then fourth grade furniture replacement. We haven't started that yet because there was so much going on there. As soon as we get into school, probably September, October, then we'll start working with all the fourth grade teachers in those buildings to start looking at replacing the furniture. We didn't do anything last year. The previous year we did fifth grade. So actually those fifth graders got actually new furniture this year because we didn't use them last year. Same thing. This is the stormwater detention area in front of York. Actually, they've got twice as much as that done right now. They're coming along nicely. We do estimate that by time they're done and then we go in there, do some of our work and let it settle a little bit, that about September 27th is when we're looking at doing the field turf. We're confirming that we can still get on the schedule with field turf, and then we should have that done by October 15th. It's a 2-week process, and when we do our field turf, it'll be contained within that area. There will be no construction or anything. Everything will be contained in that area. New gym floor, which is now beautiful. It used to be a rubber floor, now is a wood floor. That's where they're having lunch right now, and then just new boilers at York. Any questions?
I have one. First of all, thank you. Very appreciate the pictures and the detail. I know there's a lot going on, so it helps us stay informed. Second, and just it was really nice as board members to get to see Edison. And I just wondered if later this fall, when they've had a chance to settle in, could we do an open house for the community at all, or a way that, just because the community is, paying for this, it's nice for them to see what their tax dollars are paying for. And I think especially because we have so much construction going on, it just helps people maybe also be excited for what's ahead if maybe they're in the middle of construction. So not right now. I realize, I think Edison barely, it was a push to just get it open, but, in the late fall or early winter, maybe, if that's a possibility, and or maybe a little video or something that can get out for people who maybe can't come visit. Would that be possible? Okay.
Definitely do that. We actually have a professional photographer through ICI coming out to Edison on Saturday. Part of this is they want pictures for their own marketing, so we're just going to take them from them too.
Well done. Well done. Okay. That was all. Anybody else? Beth?
Just had a comment. Thank you, Kara, for mentioning that. I think sometimes the community only gets to see like the construction work on the outside is, tough to watch sometimes. It all looks great now, but it's nice to let them see the inside. So thanks for bringing that up. And I also just wanted to say my kids all went to Edison. I spent a lot of time in Edison, and the way that you guys, tied the old with the new, and it looks so nice. And I got lost. So that says a lot because I've spent a lot of time in that building. So I hope that that's something that I know a lot of it was just done with paint, which is low cost, but big win. And I hope that's something that we're thinking about in some of the other buildings that the additions are going on, where we can kind of, just make some improvements and tie things into the old parts of the building, because that really looks great. So thanks for the presentation. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, hang on.
Well, no, this is just, thank you, Todd. This is very thorough and a lot of great work for our kids in schools, and what we're getting for what we're putting in right now in the long term will pay out tenfold. I think future boards will really be appreciative of your work and the team's work in what we're doing for our community. I can't let one moment pass where I can talk a little bit about CapEx and kind of future thinking, and I know we'll talk about this a little bit more in Finance Committee, but just around, what we do with district budget and when we're over, or how much we allocate to CapEx. Again, forward thinking, long range plan, both facility and finance, and $4 million in the big picture, right? Doesn't feel like a lot when you've got as many campuses and buildings and facilities as we have. So how do we look at that kind of more forward thinking? And I look forward to partnering with you guys in the future to kind of work on that. And so thank you for all your attention and time that you put into investing the taxpayer dollars in a way that works for all of us.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Rudy.
All right. Next is the 2021-2022 opening week celebrations. So Dr. Campbell. Actually,
It's Miss Redmond is going to share.
yes.
A little taller.
Not a problem. Good evening to the board and to our school community. It is a pleasure to stand before you this evening, and I'm channeling my inner Dr. Campbell for all my energy to talk about moving forward together. Our fall 2021 opening. We started, first let me say, back to school is always my favorite time of the year since I was a little kid, and that has not changed. To see our students, to see our teachers flood through the doors, it was an amazing sight. But that work didn't just happen. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of preparation from a lot of people. So tonight's presentation, our success is due to every volunteer, every community member, every teacher, every person who put their passion, their time, and their energy into making sure that we started fall 2021 strong. We start all of our work with the same efforts, and it helps us keep our vision aligned, that we will commit ourselves to 5 full days of instruction for all students, that we will be connected, we will communicate, we will cultivate positive relationships across D205. We will also begin to celebrate and continue to celebrate our pride in our students, our staff, and our schools. 5 full days of instruction, certainly underscored as we welcome back all of our teachers. For D205 Institute Day, it's spread across 2 days. As a district, we had them for August 16th in the morning, and there was a teacher clap-in welcoming them off of the buses as they came to York to gather in the field house. It was spirited. I think we had some Motown music. There was a lot of dancing. Bringing them in probably shook a few as they were waking up with their coffee, but having a teacher clap in to let them know that they were welcomed back into school. One of the surprises was the York Marching Dukes and the string ensemble from our Fine Arts Department at York. It brought everyone to their feet, almost a concert-like atmosphere. We had a powerful welcome and address from our own Dr. Campbell, who reminded us of our why. And then social emotional learning activities, introducing our staff to those activities, and then letting them go back to their building for purposeful planning and classroom setup. Few images to take in. The excitement, the York Marching Dukes. I want to give a shout out to my colleagues, especially Dr. Rubenstein, for picking up the Forward Together D205 hashtag and putting them into signs. And you saw a lot of teachers, a lot of staff members taking pictures throughout the day, showing how they were excited, engaged, and ready for learning. Word art. Yes. At the end of the Institute Day, we asked a question. Give us one word on how you're feeling of all of our certified staff. You can see the prevailing excited, and you can also see some other words bubbling around there. Now remember, we have over 700 teachers. Some are first year, some are 30 plus. So there are a lot of emotions that are flowing on that day. So in addition to their excitement, we continue to put our arms around them and help them continue to grow. Moving into our second and third focus areas, cultivating relationships and celebrating pride. There are many back-to-school events. Many of you have children in the district, and you know that you're going to a variety of different events. These are an example of some of the great things that are going on that help us celebrate our relationships and connect as we've been apart for a little while, coming back together from the summer. You had a York Back to School Bash. I saw a Jedi duel out there. The kings and the queen of the couch. We were dancing around the circle there, having a good time, remembering that school can be not only a great place to engage and learn, but fun. Our elementary meet and greets, Edison ribbon cutting. Many of you were there helping us snip the ribbon. The first day of school, always exciting. And you can see how our schools are morphing and using that day to really connect to students and making sure they are welcome. What's up now? You have fall curriculum nights and open houses that are ongoing. More images to take in. Exciting, exciting. And I'm going to cue and jump to Rudy really quickly to give us our opening day video. It's our Forward Together video.
This year we're moving forward. Este año estamos adelante juntos. Prοχωράμε μαζί. मिलके आगे बढ़ो। Avanti insieme. Prepara-se baixo. Allons ensemble. Naprzód razem. Idź向前 forward together.
It gets better each time I see it. The first time I saw it, I'm able to contain myself now, but the first time I saw it, I was in tears. How far we have come and how far we are moving forward together. Always remember our hashtag forward together D205. That's where we're grouping all of our photos, all of our information as we are, again, we're on the road and we're on it together. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. Just thank you, Dr. Campbell. It was a long road to get here, and I just want to say thank you, because for those of you that were able to come to opening day, and we had an opportunity, most of us, to go to opening days at schools, and just to see the community so happy and focused on our kids, and all the things that probably we all took for granted to get to that point, to get our kids in the door to school. It was really special, and I think if it's something I don't think I'll ever forget, like just how special the first day this year was. And so thank you to those of you that I know it's a heavy lift to get the buildings open, to get everything going, and Dr. Campbell, for you to bring the energy that the district needed to pull us forward. I just want to publicly, I know I've said thank you, but you deserve a big thank you. It's a lot, and it's really, really appreciated. So thank you. All right, now on to the business. That is just, yeah, I know, right? The business, I know. So, all right. So next item is consent agenda. Did anybody have any items on the consent agenda they would like to pull? Okay. So with no one mentioning any items, if I could have a motion for the consent agenda?
I move that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda items: A, personnel report; B, financial reports; C, bid 22-01 mini mill EDU and tool room lathe; D, agreement residency matter; E, appointment of school treasurer; F, team select nursing services agreement; G, approval of consolidated district plan; and H, parchment agreement.
A second.
Okay, motion by Mrs. Troutman, second by Mrs. Hassler. You may call the vote.
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mrs. Hassler?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Mrs. Arvanites?
Yes.
And Mrs. Caforio?
Yes, 5 ayes, no nays, 2 absent. The motion passes. Next item is agenda action items, approval of teaching and learning consultant contract. Dr. Campbell, could you give a bit of background?
Yes. Let me first say that thank you to the Board of Education and my team members, and to my cabinet, to all of the departments, and particularly to our school administration. I want to echo the sentiments that have been shared here tonight, and that we have truly moved forward together. And it has been a collaborative, a collective effort of everyone. And I am again honored and humbled to be at the helm to support and to partner our team in this year and the years ahead. As it relates to the approval of the teaching and learning consultant contract, I have had the opportunity to continue to engage with our school leaders, as well as our departments, our directors, and our entire cabinet, to continue to listen and to continue to learn. And I appreciate the support of the board in really making sure and asking me to make sure that decisions as we move forward are continued to prioritize what's best for students. And I've echoed several times making decisions in our support and organization at the district level to be of best support to our schools. With that being said, I am recommending contracting with a consultant to provide support to our teaching and learning department during the 2021-2022 school year. I appreciate your approval in allowing me the opportunity to elevate and to promote Dr. Scott Granz as the interim associate superintendent, which is allowing a great opportunity for us to really take a step back and look at the various needs across the teaching and learning department. Contracting with a consultant this year instead of a permanent hire will allow that time for us as a cabinet team to continue to assess, and me personally, the needs of that department and make any considerations in our design to best support our schools and ultimately continue to support student achievement and outcomes. Given that this was a very unique year and our priority was focused on opening up our school year strong with 5 full days of instruction, with that comes some level of prioritization. And at that time, I felt that it would be best to give ourselves and our team more time to appropriately recruit and hire for the right candidate to fill the role of an assistant soup of teaching and innovation. So with that being said, I am asking and recommending for your approval for Dr. Jarvis Sanford to come in and to operate in an interim contract consultant position. Dr. Jarvis Sanford holds a doctorate of education in curriculum and instruction. He also holds a Master of Business Administration, an MBA, as well as a Bachelor's of Science in Education. Dr. Jarvis Sanford, under JT Sanford Consulting, previously has held positions as a building principal, as well as a managing director and founder member of the Academy for Urban School Leadership. Following the board's approval, I would like to have Dr. Sanford serve as a lead consultant in an interim capacity, managing the roles and the responsibilities of 7 learning and teaching department directors, supporting just the day-to-day operations of learning and the teaching department, and engaging directors to continue to build systems and engage school leaders in areas of support, continuing to facilitate and develop of our shared goals for our learning and teaching department as we continue to progress, monitor, and achieving district-wide priorities. We have found also that the benefit of the interim is also being able to provide myself as well as our team with ongoing feedback regarding opportunities for the learning and teaching department to develop. So at this time, I would ask for your consideration and the acceptance and in the recommendation of the contract with this consultant.
Okay, could I have a motion and then we can discuss or ask questions?
I move that the Board of Education approve the consultant contract with Dr. Sanford.
I'll second. I second it, yeah. Okay, questions, comments? Courtney?
So the contract is for 1 year. And when will is it our intention to keep Dr. Sanford in that position for the entire year, or will the search for a permanent person in that position happen and then we have the luxury of time to find the right person? And if so, then are we kind of stuck in the 1 year contract?
That is a really great question. So the contract will continue for the remainder of this just 1 year. The terminology in the contract is that contract can be be ended at any time based on the decision by the superintendent. Our anticipation is in hiring that assistant superintendent of learning and innovation in the spring time of 2022, so that there can give us enough ramp up time to continue to support and think about our work as it relates to subsequent school year.
Yeah, I appreciate that because, especially with, Dr. Yankee still present and the network of just the network she has across a large area, I would hate to see us kind of trapped into having to fulfill this 1-year contract if that right person comes along. So it's good to hear that there's that flexibility. So if the right person is brought to us, we can use the contract for overlap for, bringing somebody new on, but we're not kind of tied to it for the entire year. So thank you.
Correct.
Is there a limit to the number of days that he can work in a year?
There is not a limit to the number of days that he is allowed to work.
He does not have a limit imposed by the TRS or?
Correct.
Okay.
Keisha, can I ask one more question? Sorry. So for the posting, are we looking at a potential executive search firm, or are we thinking that we're posting in the winter? What's the timeline for that?
Yes, that's a really great question. So I'm actually, Dr. Yankee, as mentioned, is of support, and I am relying also on her, obviously her expertise and experience she brings from the search firm. At this point, we're expecting that there's a window that individuals of this particular caliber in this position is looking at future opportunities and forward opportunities, and we think that comes around the later winter months. Just very similar to the time in which this board began to contract. I think, though, given the time frame and being just very clear by that time on what are our specific needs as a district within that department, that I feel in partnership with our phenomenal HR team that we will be able to really carry out that search, as well as utilize and rely on the expertise and the support that has been provided to me. Excellent question. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I appreciate you taking your time to get a high quality candidate versus trying to rush through and hire someone, and also to evaluate what is really needed to move us forward. So I know we had the interim, we had Dr. Yankee, but then we had Michael. Yeah, special ed interim, student services interim, and that was a successful time too, to also help assess moving forward. So I know it doesn't always sound ideal, but I think it also helps end up with a nice, a high quality candidate. So, all right, is there any other comment, question? Okay, you can call the vote.
Mrs. Hassler?
Yes.
Mrs. Caforio?
Yes.
Mrs. Troutman?
Yes.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
And Mrs. Arvanettes?
Yes.
All right, 5 ayes, no nays, 2 absent, motion passes. Next up is the superintendent's communication, FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests. There were quite a few.
Yes, this has definitely been a pretty busy season as it relates to the various FOIA requests, and I definitely would like and must publicly recognize our team, but at the helm and the lead of that is the executive assistant to the superintendent, Ms. Catherine Schmidt, that has definitely been tremendous in her organization and receiving and working collaboratively across all departments to meet the various Freedom of Information Act requests that have been received. So we received 17 FOIA requests revolving curriculum. 15 were granted, 2 not in possession. We received 3 FOIA requests for maintenance, postal, and copier contracts, which were granted. 2 FOIA requests regarding staff information, which was granted. 1 FOIA request regarding settlement agreement, which was granted. 1 FOIA request for construction bid information, which was granted. 2 FOIA requests for released closed minutes, which was granted. 4 FOIA requests around a variety of communication. 2 were granted, 2 marked as unduly burdensome, and 1 FOIA request for tax levy information, which was granted. 1 FOIA request was vague and unclear, which was denied, and 1 FOIA request in regards to course enrollment, again, which was granted.
Okay, thank you. Next is social media highlights.
President Cafario, can I just also, I wanted to, as a note, also let the Board of Education know, as well as our community, that our administration team is currently working on making updates to our COVID dashboard. And we anticipate a relaunch of that. I know that I have received several email inquiries regarding that, and I wanted to let you all know that we are anticipating a relaunch of that dashboard the week of September 6th. So as shared with our fall plan, that the district, that we will continue to closely review our local data, ensure we have appropriately layered our mitigations as we move forward together. I'm sorry, thank you. I just wanted to make that small note.
Thank you. All right.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, it is an opportunity for us as a district to celebrate the great things that are going on in our school district. And we do that a great deal, as many of us do on a daily basis, taking a look at our social media. And our Forward Together D205 hashtag is what we affix most commonly to most of our posts, to make sure that we're grouping those together and that we can go and look those up and see a steady stream of what is happening in our schools. And I'd first like to give a shout out to Margaret DeYoung, the Conrad Fisher librarian. As she was posting on Twitter, she said, the Fisher Library is ready for students. This was the day before school. Waiting is not easy. She's got it all primed, and I think if you look really closely, there's one of our signs that she's engaged and ready and excited for learning. And she said, see you tomorrow, and she put our hashtag Forward Together D205. So thank you very much to Conrad Fisher for posting and supporting our hashtag and kicking off the year. Many of you know Amy Thompson. She's the counselor or a counselor at the College and Career Resource Center at York High School. What she had to say as she's posing with a little Forward Together gift there, saying, after day 1 of our institute, I'm more excited than ever to move Forward Together D205. It's going to be a great year because we will make it so together. And then she goes on to urge her seniors and give a little instruction on when they should report Ever Teaching and Ever Counseling. Thank you, Amy Thompson. Moving into Facebook, many of you have heard the term EdiLink. That is the combination of Edison and Lincoln schools. And what a time we've been having it's been over a year and a half talking about this, and we were finally able to see both schools come together. And we're recognizing Edison for their Facebook post that we're better together. It took a village to get these 2 dynamic schools to come together in a new school with new logistics, new friends, new teams, and new families. We appreciate every single person who has helped us make it successful. And again, hashtag Forward Together D205. Churchville, the Chargers. Recognizing Churchville for their Facebook post. Welcome back, Chargers. Today was a great day. And you can see all the balloons, the archway going in. Today was a great day, and we are ecstatic to have all of our chargers in the building. This is going to be a great year. Hashtag We Are Churchville, hashtag For Together D205. As always, like, share, follow Elmhurst D205 on social media. That is Facebook, that is Twitter, that is Instagram. To all of our community, students, have an excellent year. Thank you.
So I wanted to first say thank you for that, and I also want to acknowledge all the work that you've done over the past few years here in District 205. You walked us through a referendum and a lot of major communications, and you are on to something, I guess, bigger. I hate to say better, but something definitely bigger. And I just want to formally thank you, and also to just acknowledge that you will be missed. You work closely with all of us and supported us, and your work has been very much appreciated. So this is your last time presenting in front of us, and we wish you the best in your next endeavor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This is the one time I will say thank goodness for a mask. To you all, to the Board of Education, to my band of brothers, to Miss Kathy, to the entire community. It has been an excellent, excellent opportunity. Yes, we've done some hard work, but we've done some great work at the same time. And thank you just for the opportunity to serve this community. I appreciate you. I remember, like it was yesterday, my interview session, and that at the end you chose me. And I thank you for it. I will continue to look for the great things happening here. Going on to something different, but better and good, is still here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is board communications. I just had a couple minor things I wanted to communicate. First of all, the Finance Committee is going to have a change. Chris Kaczynski is going to step back from the Finance Committee, and Mrs. Arvanites will take his place. So at the next committee meeting, you will see Mr. Collins, Mrs. Stufen, and Mrs. Arvanites as the members of that committee. And I also wanted to note and apologize. I know that this upset some community members, that though there was a wording change in the resolution that we adopted in our last meeting, and I did not note that. I did not check right before which version had been uploaded to Board Docs, so I apologize that that was not noted publicly. So that is now, the one that was approved is in Board Docs, and if you have any further questions, feel free to come and ask me. And I have no other questions or comments or anything. Okay, so we have 3 upcoming meetings. September 1st, 2021, Board of Education Policy Committee meeting at 6:30 here in District 205 Center. We have a regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting. It's on September 7th, 2021, here in District 205 Center at 7 o'clock. And a regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting here in District 205 Center on September 21st, 2021 at 7 o'clock. And if there is nothing else, then we are adjourned.